Hello friends, today we shall continue with our discussion on performance of a transmission line, especially medium transmission line. In the last video lecture we have discussed about the end condenser method. There were three methods to analyze the performance of the medium transmission line. The first one is end condenser method, second one is a nominal T method, another one is a nominal pi method. Then why we are not preferring end condenser method? Let us see the limitations of end condenser method. Okay. The limitations of end condenser method is, although end condenser method for the solution of medium lines is simple to work out, yet it has some of the drawbacks, limitations. First one is there is a considerable error, about 10% in calculations, because the distributed capacitance has been assumed to be lumped or concentrated at one point, that too at the load side. This method overestimates the effects of line capacitance. So these are the limitations. To overcome this, we have other two methods. The first one is nominal T method. Here, the capacitance of the transmission line is assumed to be concentrated at the center of the transmission line, here. Okay, such that the resistance and impedances or resistance and inductive reactances are equally divided on either side of the capacitance. Okay, so it looks like a T, right? It looks like a T. This is like this. It looks like a T. That's why it's called as a nominal T method. In this method, the whole line capacitance is assumed to be concentrated at the middle point of the line, and half the line resistance and reactances are lumped on its either side, as it has been shown in figure. Therefore, in this arrangement, full charging current flows over half the line. Full charging current, this flows only through this half of this line, not here. There is no charging current in this part of the transmission line. It is only through this towards receiving, towards sending end of the transmission line. Okay, let us see, assume some of the parameters like IR. Let IR be the load current per phase, XL be the inductive reactance per phase, cos phi R is the receiving end power factor, which is usually lagging. Why it is lagging? Because the load is assumed to be inductive in nature. V1, this one, V1 is the voltage across the capacitor, R is the resistance per phase, C is the capacitance per phase, and Vs is the sending end voltage per phase. We generally take this as a single phase, okay, so that the calculations are easy, and the same apply, whatever the result we obtain in the single phase can be converted into three phase. For example, if I get VL Vs per phase value, then three phase value will be root 3 Vs, okay, like this. So let us draw the phasor diagram by taking VR as a reference vector. So VR is your reference vector. So IR lags VR, this IR lags VR by an angle phi R. Okay. So this, there is a capacitance here, okay, and this capacitance current, charging current, leads this VR by an angle 90 degree. Okay. So this IC leads VR by 90 degree. So IC plus IR, vector sum of IR and IC is the IS, that is sending end current. So IS is the vector sum of IR and IC. Okay. Now when IR flows through this part of transmission line, it flows through the resistance and inductive reactance, half of that. Okay. So when IR flows through R by 2, it creates a voltage drop, resistive drop, that is IR into R by 2. Similarly, when IR flows through XL by 2, you will get IR into XL by 2. So this IR into R by 2, this drop across this is in phase with VR. Okay, I mean to say is in phase with IR. This voltage drop is in phase with IR. Okay, see here, it is in phase with IR, and this IR into XL by 2, it leads, this voltage drop leads IR by 90 degree, right? This IR into XL by 2 leads this by 90 degree. Okay. Now next is when IS flows through this R by 2 and XL by 2, again it will create a voltage drop. Now IS into R by 2, this drop is in phase with IS, is in phase with IS. IS into R by 2 is in phase with IS, and similarly IS into XL by 2 is leading IS by 90 degree. Okay, like this. So if you add VR plus these two drops, what you will get is V1. So this is the V1. V1 is equal to VR plus IR into R by 2 plus IR into XL by 2, right? So you will get V1. If you add V1 and these two drops, what you will get is Vs. See here, V1 plus these two drops, what you will get is Vs. Okay. So I have taken receiving end voltage as a reference, therefore VR is equal to vector VR is equal to VR plus J0, right? Next, load current IR is equal to IR into cos phi R minus J sin phi R. So voltage across C, that is V1. V1 is equal to what? VR plus these two drops, that is VR plus IR into Z by 2, right? R plus JXL is Z, right? That is Z by 2 R. So VR plus IR into cos phi R minus J of sin phi R into R by 2 plus J of XL by 2, right? Now the capacitive current IC is J omega C into V1, right? That is IC is, because of IC is equal to V1 by XC. That's what I have written here. V1 by XC. XC is 1 by 2 pi FC or 1 by omega C. That is what is given here. J omega C into V1 or J 2 pi FC into V1. Sending end current IS. IS is equal to IS is equal to IR plus IC, right? IR plus IC. So sending end voltage Vs is equal to V1 plus IS into Z by 2. V1 plus IS into Z by 2. Z by 2 is R by 2 plus J of XL by 2. This is your final expression for sending end voltage. Okay, and the performance parameters you know that.